iPhone 11 versus Galaxy S20 5G, which is the better pick? Now, I've had the Galaxy S20 for a little bit of time now, and I've had the iPhone 11 for around 6 months. Now, this launched in September 2019. This launched in around February, March time frame. Now, let's begin with the bodies. First of all, the immediate thing you'll notice about the Galaxy S20 versus the iPhone 11 is just how much thinner, and it just feels less wide than the iPhone 11. You can kind of see it right there. However, I do feel like the aluminum on the sides of the iPhone 11 feels a little bit more solid than that of the Galaxy S20 5G over here. The glass on the rear is pretty slippery on both, but really you feel that width and weight of the iPhone 11 a little bit more than that of the Galaxy S20, actually a lot more. 163 grams on this phone over here versus 194 grams on this phone. Now both of these are IP68 dust and water resistant, so you can get either of them wet, and both of them do have Gorilla Glass on both front and rear. Now, one thing I really do love about the Galaxy S20, and I think it's the better pick if you care about design, is how the screen kind of comes all the way down to the bottom and to the top. You can see there's just a little punch hole right there, but other than that, you're getting a very bezel-less style display here, and it's all in a size that's really manageable at just around 6.2 inches on the display. It comes in an 89.5% screen to body ratio, so the screen on here is much closer to an all screen than the iPhone 11s, which comes in at 79%, and you can just clearly see how thick the bezels are around the edges of this iPhone versus that Galaxy. Now over here you can see there's also a huge notch up here, definitely worth it for the Face ID, and most people don't care at this point because they love the software on the iPhone 11, but at the same time, I think from a pure design aesthetic, the Galaxy S20 is the better pick here. Now, moving on to their displays, which one is better here? Well, it's a pretty clear winner in the Galaxy S20 5G. Reason being is this has an OLED display, and Samsung has been discounting this due to the pandemic, this device, so I've seen it as low as $799 for this phone, which is right in line with the iPhone 11, and this has a better display than I think even the iPhone 11 Pro has. You know, the 120 hertz panel here, and it's also OLED, dynamic AMOLED. So let's go over here to settings, go to display, and you can see high refresh rate, 120 hertz. And people have complained that you can't do it in the 3200 by 1440p mode, which is a little bit annoying, I'm not gonna lie, but still, even at the full HD, it's still a higher resolution than the iPhone 11. Also, this display has better contrast ratio because it's OLED, and you have the ability to tweak it between vivid and natural. It's a much better media display. You know, all around, I just think it's a better display than the iPhone 11s. Where the iPhone 11 shines though is that it's LCD. Some people just don't like, OLED displays. They prefer an LCD panel. And if you really like LCD, this is one of the last remaining options that is really powerful on the market. You also have True Tone on here, which is something that once you use it, you really don't want to go back to a phone that doesn't use it. But I found a way to get by that with the Galaxy. Just turn on blue light filter, turn the blue light filter just up a little bit, and you kind of almost emulate what True Tone does. It's not a perfect replacement, and it's not even a true replacement, but it's still a nice way to get that more of that yellow tone that True Tone typically offers. You also have night shift here and a dark mode for the iPhone 11. And some people just really like the fully flat display of this phone right here. So when you are, checking the weather or doing whatever you're doing on the device, there's no curves, nothing cutting in the display. It's a full flat display. Now, when it comes to the platform and the software, which one is better here? Well, neither one is truly better. I think that the ecosystem really matters for you. If you're entrenched within the Apple ecosystem, the iPhone is better here. If you care about longevity and software updates, like going past 2 to 3 years, you'll care a lot about this, but this Samsung is not going to have short longevity. It should be able to get at least 2 and maybe stretching into the 3rd year on software updates. You might want to even update your phone by then, but if you're going super long term, I think that the iPhone will win it out here. Also, this iPhone 11 does have a little bit less features, I would say, than the Galaxy S20. If you go over here into advanced features, there's just so much you can do with this phone, and the ability to just kind of move apps wherever you want them and kind of customize the screen however you like it. Especially some people like seeing their full wallpaper, like right here on the Galaxy S20. You can't do that here on the iPhone, and you might see widget support in iOS 14, but it's likely going to be outside the screen and still not, fully customizable like this, where you can just kind of move a widget wherever you would like, anywhere on the screen, and then just go over here and grab some more widgets and just kind of place them wherever you would want. For example, the weather app right here, we can place a full forecast on this one right here. We'll hit Chicago and we'll hit back, and you could see there's like a full weather app here now. Also themes on here. So the software is still down to features versus ecosystem, but I think if you want an ecosystem where you still can use customization but still have watches, tablets, computers, Samsung is one of the best competitors here, because they do have the Galaxy Watch, they do have the Galaxy Tab series, they do have Samsung laptops that work very well with your Samsung phone. They do have DeX. So yeah, this is probably your best option if you want to have all the hardware like you can get on the iPhone side, all on the same brand. But when it comes to the storage, the iPhone 11 upcharges on the storage, whereas the Galaxy doesn't really do that. You just have to get your own micro SD card, which is a cheap price to get more storage. So 128 gig starting point is higher than the iPhone 11. So I think it represents a little bit of a better value, especially if you find this around the same price in storage, because you can expand it and you get more at the base level storage for the Galaxy S20. So definitely gotta hand it there to Samsung. They still do give you basically what you want when it comes to storage capacity here. But the iPhone goes up to 256 gigs and it still doesn't top out at even over $900 for an iPhone 11 with 256. So still a good value on the iPhone 11. And the smooth feel, which one actually feels smoother? Now the iPhone is the smoothest 60 hertz phone I've seen. It's just incredibly smooth for not being 90 hertz or even 120 hertz, but it can't hold a candle to the Galaxy S20, which is just a smoother all around feeling phone. I've been testing this out extensively, using these extensively, and you can definitely see it quite a bit when you go back between these phones. And this is especially noticeable when scrolling. You definitely see the chop on the iPhone versus the Samsung. So the Samsung is the smoother device now over the iPhone 11, and the gestures look identical on both. So you can't really say, well, iPhone has the smoother gestures. Maybe they do, but you still can't really tell because the display is so smooth now on the Samsung. It kind of makes up for the gestures being better on the iPhone. So it's not a big deal of difference anymore. And so let's move on to the cameras on both of these phones, because both of them do have an interesting camera setup. The iPhone 11 actually gives you a dual camera module on the rear, and this one does give you ultra wide and a standard wide, which is very good quality, especially in the video up to 4K 60 recording. Now over here on the Samsung, you do get a triple camera, a 12 megapixel standard wide, you get a 64 megapixel telephoto, and you also do get a 12 megapixel ultra wide. This can also do up to 8K video recording in 4K 60p as well. And what's great about the smaller Galaxy S20 is that this one has the dual pixel AF with OIS on board. So the focusing issues are not really present on the Galaxy S20, making this much more matched up to the iPhone series. Now you can see right there, just on this shot, how much difference in width. The iPhone 11 is a wide feeling phone compared to the S20. And so within the camera, one thing I really like about the iPhone's camera is that phase detection autofocus is just locked down. They got this thing on lockdown. There's just really no camera competing with it right now, I feel like, in terms of having amazing autofocus, especially in video. You don't even notice it's really focusing. It just does what you want it to do. And this is the most reliable phone I could recommend for doing video on a phone. It's superb. Also, the front video is pretty darn good too, with its upgraded 12 megapixel camera. In addition, better 4K 60p video recording on the front gives you an awesome selfie camera experience for the iPhone 11. Really great ultra wide, really good overall results. I think you'll love the iPhone 11's camera. Now over here for the Samsung, you'll also love this one due to its incredibly quick dual pixel AF. Where it really shines is where you kind of pull things out of the frame, pull it back in, and it just locks that thing into focus. So sometimes it will jump in and out though, due to kind of hunting for that stuff. But really, it's a great autofocus system here on the S20, the original one, the regular one. And it has a great selfie camera as well. At 10 megapixels, can do 4K 60. You can also back it out wide, just like you can do on the iPhone. And really, where Samsung takes the cake here in photography is mostly over here when you go to more. There's just a lot of features going on. You got a food mode, a slow mode, pro video, hyperlapse. Yeah, there's a lot going on with the iPhone in terms of features, but there just seems to be more on the Samsung. Maybe a little bit less simple, but still Very fun to use, very nice to have all these additional features. I also noticed that just on the main camera, we get a little bit better of a background blur on photos just from the main camera. You don't even have to put it into live focus, just a better background separation on some of these photos than the iPhone. And that mostly comes down to its sensor size, 1/1.76 inches versus 1/2.55 inches. But which one is the better camera? Well, I think if you want the more reliable, easy to use video quality and photo quality, the iPhone 11 is still the pick. I think if you care about vibrant photos, you like to take pictures of food, stuff like that, you'll like the Galaxy. If you like to take 8K video, you want to be future-proofed, you'll like the Galaxy more. And I think if you kind of like bringing things in and out of the frame when you're taking a photo, maybe you're doing object photography or videography, you like to pull things in and out, I think that the Samsung, especially because it has dual pixel on the front as well, will be a great option for you. And when it comes to their audio, both of them do have very fast Bluetooth connections, 5.0, but how does the audio sound?
Versus the iPhone 11 speed test. Let's begin with a boot up in 3, 2.
Now on the iPhone 11, the predominantly loud speaker is the one on the bottom. It does have a top speaker, but if you cover the bottom, it does get a little bit muted.
2, 1, and see which one can get there first.
But it doesn't fully cut out because it has those dual speakers. Now Samsung, again,
Galaxy S20 5G versus the iPhone 11 speed test.
the majority of the audio is still coming out of the bottom.
Let's begin with a boot up.
So pretty good performance on both. I actually think the Galaxy S20 sounds a little bit louder than that of the iPhone, and it also has Dolby Atmos. So if we turn that on,
And also over here on the right, we do have
it gets even louder. So the Samsung to me is the louder device here of the two. So I'd pick the Samsung if you want the better audio from the external. And so what about Face ID versus the in-display fingerprint sensor? Well, you know what? I think Face ID is a little bit more reliable, to be honest with you. I find myself missing the in-display fingerprint sensor a little bit more, although it's really good. Once you get used to it, it's not a big deal. You can even unlock it with the screen off like that. However, still, I find myself missing a little bit more often with that placement of the fingerprint sensor. It's not where it's at. It's just sometimes you don't get your finger exactly perfect on there. You can set up multiple fingers to increase the accuracy, but in terms of overall accuracy, I found the Face ID just to be a little bit more convenient to use, although both of them are very secure and you can use them with applications, which makes them pretty close once again. Both these phones also do have fast and wireless charging, but which one has the better battery life? I can tell you that is a close call. With that 4,000 milliamp hour battery, that is a big battery stuffed in such a small form factor here in the Galaxy S20. I find it to just last longer in usage. However, when using the iPhone 11, I am always stretching into the second day, and standby time beats the pants off of the Galaxy S20. So if you want standby time, it's still going to be the iPhone 11. If you want the better usage time when actually using the phone, it's going to be the S20. And I forgot to mention, but with this 865 Snapdragon CPU versus the A13 Bionic, the real big difference here is twice the RAM, allows you to keep applications in the background a lot easier without having any reloads versus the iPhone 11, which you can come out of an application and sometimes you try to go back into the application just like we'll reload stuff. It's not going to do it here in the video. It always shows me up in the video, but it happens in real world usage. So in terms of performance, the Galaxy S20 is probably the better multitasking phone with a bunch more features like pop view, split screen and stuff like that to really get your multitasking genius on if you want to go ahead and do that. If you don't want to do that, you want to stick to one app at a time, the iPhone will be just fine for you. And so at these price points being very similar, which one is the overall better phone? Well, better is very subjective. It's really down to which you like more, but I would say that if you're entrenched in the Apple ecosystem, of course the iPhone is better. If you care a lot about hardware though, you care about specs, the Galaxy S20 is clearly the better phone. It has a better display. It has a arguably better camera setup. It has better battery life when actually using it in my experience. Also, the phone just feels more futuristic. This feels like an old, boring design on the iPhone 11 compared to the Galaxy S20. Now, in the iPhone land, it feels pretty modern, but when you compare it to things like this, it feels like it needs an update in design. I think if you're not like sucked into the Apple ecosystem and you want to just try out something new, I think the Galaxy, just look at the screen difference. It's like night and day. Anyway, which one do you think is better here? The iPhone 11 or the Galaxy S20? Let us know down below in the comment section of this video and let us know your experience. If you have one of these phones, maybe you have both of them, or maybe you switched from the iPhone 11 to the S20, share with the community to help everybody out decide which is going to be their next flagship device or their next phone here amongst these two. If you found the video helpful, entertaining, informing, do me a favor, click the like button for me. Subscribe if you haven't already. Nick here helping you to master your technology. Be sure to be well, and peace.